Hey, this is Dan from DIY Domination. Have you ever wanted to learn how to refinish hardwood floors yourself? Well, today is your lucky day. Refinishing hardwood floors is a rewarding, albeit labor-intensive project that breathes new life into your home. Not only does it enhance the aesthetic appeal of your space, but it also increases the longevity of your floors. It's a project that requires patience, precision, and the right tools. Speaking of tools, you'll need safety gear like glasses, dust mask, ear protection, and knee pads. You'll also require a floor sander, sandpaper of varying grits, wood filler, a putty knife, a vacuum cleaner, and a tack cloth. Optionally, you may need stain, polyurethane finish, applicators, a stir stick and mixing container, and painter's tape. But don't worry, each of these items has a specific purpose in the process, which you'll soon understand as we go along. Now, are you ready to bring your hardwood floors back to life? Let's dive into the process. By the way, if you like this video and want to see more videos with advice on home improvement, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we'll do our best to reply to your comment. First things first, we need to prepare the room. This step is vital for a smooth and efficient process ahead. Start by removing all the furniture and rugs from the room. You want a clear, unobstructed space to work in. Don't forget those small items and decoratives that might be lurking in corners. Next, it's about containing the dust. When we sand the floor, it's going to create a lot of dust, and we don't want that spreading throughout the house. So, how do we do this? We hang plastic sheeting over the doorways. This will act as a barrier, keeping the dust confined to our workspace. Remember, the key to a successful project is preparation. A well-prepared room minimizes cleanup later and ensures a safer, more controlled work environment. Now with the room prepared, we're ready to inspect the floor for repairs. Now, let's inspect the floor and make necessary repairs. The first step in this process is to check the floor for any nails or staples that may be sticking out. If you find any, you can either hammer them down or remove them completely. It's essential to ensure that the surface is smooth and free from any obstructions that could damage our sander or disrupt the sanding process. Once we've done that, we move on to filling any gaps or cracks in the wood. For this, we use a wood filler. Using a putty knife, apply the filler into the gaps or cracks until they're filled and level with the rest of the floor. It's crucial to allow the filler to dry completely before proceeding to the next step. With the floor repaired, we're ready to start sanding. Remember, a smooth, well-prepared surface is the key to a successful refinishing job. Now comes the labor-intensive part, sanding the floor. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this operation. Sanding not only smooths out the surface but also opens up the wood grain to absorb the finish better. Now, the type of sander you use can make a significant difference here. Both drum and orbital sanders are great options. However, a drum sander is more aggressive, while an orbital sander is easier to handle and less likely to cause damage if you're not familiar with the process. Start with the coarsest grit sandpaper, typically between 20 and 40 grit. This initial sanding is all about removing the old finish and any deep scratches or stains. It's a good idea to move in the direction of the wood grain to avoid scratching the surface. Once you've covered the entire area with the coarse grit, it's time to switch to a medium grit sandpaper, usually between 60 and 80 grit. This second round of sanding will further smooth out the surface and remove any scratches left by the coarse grit. Finally, we move on to the fine grit sandpaper, ranging from 100 to 120 grit. This stage is all about making the surface as smooth as possible. It prepares the floor for the finish and ensures a flawless result. Now, while the main area of the floor can be handled with a floor sander, corners and edges require a bit more finesse. For these tricky areas, use an edger sander. This smaller handheld tool allows you to reach into corners and along edges where the floor sander can't. And let's not forget about cleaning up between each sanding stage. Vacuum thoroughly to remove all the dust and debris. This step is crucial as leftover dust can mix with your finish and create a rough texture on your newly sanded floor. With the floor smoothly sanded, we're ready to clean the surface. Remember, attention to detail at this stage will set the stage for a stunning final result. Let's keep going. It's time to clean the surface and get it ready for staining and finishing. Now that we've sanded the floor to a smooth finish, it's crucial to clean up any lingering dust particles. These tiny intruders can cause a rough texture on your newly finished floor, and we certainly don't want that. Enter the trusty tack cloth. This sticky piece of fabric is an absolute lifesaver when it comes to picking up the fine dust left behind after vacuuming. Simply wipe the floor with it, making sure to cover every inch. As you go, you'll notice the cloth picking up the dust, leaving the floor looking cleaner than ever. Now the next step is optional but can add a fascinating dimension to your floor. We're talking about staining. Staining allows you to change the color of the wood to match your decor, or just to give it a fresh look. If you choose to stain, make sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions meticulously. The key is to apply it evenly and allow it to dry completely before moving on. Once the stain is dry, or if you've opted to skip staining, it's time for the grand finale, applying the polyurethane finish. This is what will seal your floor and give it that polished, professional look. Firstly, give the polyurethane a good stir. This ensures a uniform consistency and color. Then, using a lamb's wool applicator or synthetic brush, apply the finish in the direction of the wood grain. This helps to avoid streaks and gives a smoother finish. Take your time with this step. The finish sets the tone for your entire floor, so it's worth doing it right. Make sure to cover the entire floor evenly, taking care not to leave any puddles of finish. Once you've applied the first coat, let it dry completely. This might take some time, but remember, patience is the key to a beautiful hardwood floor. With the first coat of finish applied, we're ready to sand between coats. This might seem counterintuitive, but this extra step can make a world of difference to the final result. For a smoother finish, we'll lightly sand the floor between coats. It's all about the details now. Once the first coat of polyurethane finish is completely dry, you'll want to take your fine grit sandpaper and lightly go over the entire floor. This is not a deep sanding operation. The goal here is to provide a slightly rough surface for the next coat of finish to latch onto, enhancing durability and appearance. After sanding, it's crucial to get rid of any dust or debris with a vacuum or a tack cloth, ensuring a clean surface for the next layer of finish. Now, you're ready for the next coat. Using your lamb's wool applicator or synthetic brush, you'll apply another layer of polyurethane finish, following the wood grain's direction. Remember, patience is key. Allow this coat to dry thoroughly before deciding if another coat is necessary. Repeat the process until you're satisfied with the look. With the final coat applied, we're almost done. Patience is key here, as we need to allow the floor to cure. This is one of those moments when time truly is your best friend. After diligently applying the final coat of finish to your hardwood floor, it might be tempting to rush the process but resist the urge. The floor needs to cure for the recommended time before you can move any furniture back in. This curing time is crucial as it allows the finish to harden, providing a durable and long-lasting surface that can withstand the daily wear and tear. While waiting for the floor to cure, let's not forget about the cleanup. You've put in a lot of hard work, and it's important to ensure your tools are cleaned and stored properly for future use. Start by removing the plastic sheeting you hung up earlier. Be careful not to let any lingering dust or debris fall onto your newly refinished floor. Next, clean your tools. If you've used a lamb's wool applicator or brush, wash it thoroughly with warm soapy water if you've used water-based polyurethane. If it's oil-based, you'll need to use mineral spirits to clean your applicator. Remember to dispose of any leftover finish or cleaning solvents in accordance with local regulations. Now, let's talk about your sanding equipment. If you've rented a floor sander, ensure it's free of dust and in the same condition as when you received it. For your sandpaper, consider storing any lightly used pieces for future projects. Finally, take a moment to properly dispose of any waste material. Remember, many of these materials are not suitable for regular trash pickup, so be sure to check your local waste disposal guidelines. Congratulations! You've successfully refinished your hardwood floors. Now, all that's left is to step back and admire your work. Remember, always follow the specific instructions on the products you use, and take the necessary safety precautions throughout the refinishing process. If you liked this video, then make sure to also watch these videos for more DIY home improvement lessons.